This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
Practice wrapped up, a lengthy walkthrough and then practice at TCO Performance Center. And very shortly, right now, our next Vikings guest, Harrison Phillips, is hobnobbing with his wife and his new baby, who was born in early May, like May 9. So then he's going to head, we hope, we presume, our direction. And we'll talk about a number of different things with him. Ben Goessling has already stopped by once, but we'll get a little more extended version with Ben later, Friday regular. And we do expect Lavelle at some point in the final hour or so of the broadcast. I'm sure he has some. I'm wondering if with Lavelle by now the Twins spin doctors will have gotten to him enough on and off the record that he's going to say he's 100% simpatico.
He sees the vision
with all of these moves, when yesterday he clearly wasn't. You know, that's my fear is, okay, they talk you out of stuff. They're good at it.
Yeah.
Twin spin doctors are
effective. It's their job.
And I worry a little bit. We'll find out. I mean, this will be a good test today, right, to see where he is with this thing. I'll ask him for a report card grade and see if he goes individual or collective as well, because he seemed pretty bewildered yesterday. But he could easily say, well, I was bewildered.
I slept on it.
I talked to a few people off the record about
read some things,
what they're thinking about. Do we have the lineup card for tonight, by the way?
Yeah, I know it's out. Let me.
Is it funky looking? I mean, do we have to go and get a bunch of new players?
Well, I did think about doing some kind of bit, like, is this guy actually in the lineup, or is it just a made-up name?
That's not a bad idea.
But that's definitely something we can do
moving forward.
Yeah.
For 2 months. It's August 1st. They're a lame duck team for 2 months. The rest of this season, like I said.
So Martin is your center fielder. He leads off.
Okay.
Roden.
Okay.
Left fielder. Do I know him?
No, probably don't.
Jeffers, we know him. He's your DH. Cody Clemens, your first base and cleanup.
Well, he's going to get a lifetime deal at this rate.
Royce Lewis, third base.
Okay.
Matt Wallner.
Remember him.
Brooks Lee.
Okay.
Vasquez.
Okay, we know him.
And Julian. So we know most of them.
We know actually most of them.
And then Joe Ryan.
And it's Ryan on the hill.
Yeah.
And then, do we call up anybody for the pen? We lost. Didn't we trade 5 bullpen members?
We traded 5 relievers, yeah.
5 relievers. So that's where there's got to be some new faces, I would think, unless we're going to go really shorthanded. Maybe we said to Joe, you're going 9, regardless of how you pitch. Or Cody Clemens pitches the last 3.
So here's who they recalled from AAA today.
Okay.
Your guy, the right-handed pitcher, Travis Adams.
Okay.
Infielder, Ryan Fitzgerald.
All right.
Julian. So
Julian, we know, but he wasn't with the big club.
Austin Martin, who we know, he's back.
Right.
Right-handed pitcher Pearson Ole.
Okay.
OHL, do we know him?
I don't know if we know him.
And then Roden, the outfielder, who comes right up and bats second.
Any of the pitchers? I thought the pitcher we got for our closer had pitched in the major. No, but we sent him to St. Paul. I remember that yesterday. We sent him to the Saints. So we're apparently not going to bring him up right away?
I guess
doesn't
not.
Appear?
Erasmo Ramirez, I think, is also up here, pitcher, and then Jose Urena.
Yeah. What if we go on a run now? What if we go on a run and get right back in the wild card chase against largely good teams now. We're in a period, we laid that out a couple days ago, where we're playing almost all good to very good teams. Then, I mean, the Royals aren't great. They're around 500, but everybody else, I think, in this stretch is good to very good.
Well, here's where I'm always torn, because I do feel for Twins fans. Like, I wouldn't mind that for John Bonus. You know what I mean? Like a guy who goes to the ballpark.
Oh, yeah, sure.
People that do live and die with this club and have obviously been through a lot since the playoff season from a couple of years ago. So, yeah, come on up. So I feel for those guys. That would be cool, but but it's hard to feel good for anybody else. Besides the fans and some people that that work with.
It's
the team
almost
and
impossible to feel good for. You know how you can tell when that defensive guys don't get the proper respect. Every other player, well, actually, even some defensive players come up and they've got a Vikings media person escorting them. Yeah. In the case of poor Harrison Phillips, he's got to find his way.
He points at us.
He has to point at us.
Are you the guys?
That's no respect. What's that all about?
Look at this, though. At least I get a water.
Get your Aquafina.
Wow, I got a water.
That's not very fancy water, but at least it is water.
Hey, you know
Welcome.
what?
Thanks for coming, man. I saw you hanging with your wife and the baby. Congratulations. Born, was it early May?
Yeah. So coming up on 3 months old, and what an experience that's been for sure. But
Roman John Phillips, is that correct?
Roman John.
Nice.
And really, really cool. See my wife step up in the mother role, and then just to, core memory unlocked walking off the practice field for the first time and having them there.
So it sounds cliched, but because it does change your life completely, does it feel changed, transformed since the birth?
Yeah, I don't feel like dad strength's kicked in yet. I'm waiting on that. Maybe that's going to be a season thing for me.
Right.
But I definitely don't have control on my life anymore. That's for sure.
But that's all going to be to the good, right? The million memories, the whole bit. So I'm glad. How's the sleep been?
Again, I have to say thank you so much to my wife. She's been doing a fantastic job. But, right now we're up at the hotel in the Omni.
That's true, yeah.
Normally, I've never been a huge fan of staying at the hotel for training camp, but I was very pumped this season to be able to go get my own little room.
Okay, so we're in a tough position from our perch where we can watch aspects of practice, and then some stuff, there's people standing our way, and it's kind of hard to tell. But from here, I got to tell you, it still continues to look like you guys are torturing the offense. What the hell's going on?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think that a lot of times in training camp, the drills are set up for us.
Right. That sounds very self-deprecating. I don't know.
No, it is, though. I mean, you got to think, especially, I assume you're mainly talking about the pass rush stuff and also thudding. A lot of times I'll come off a block and I'll throw out my hand and I'll tap the running back.
Right.
Do I make that tackle or do I not? And they might blow it down. And as a defensive player, I would have made that every single time. But you never actually know. So it can be skewed and it is difficult. But I will say that it's really cool to see how our defense is coming together in a very quick way. Are we August 1st today?
August 1 today.
And it seems like we are playing collectively at all three levels pretty tight.
So, again, a lot of people who've been around a little bit like know what B-Flow is about philosophically. But we all wonder whether, as the years accrue, whether he says, okay, let's add this, let's add that. I feel more comfortable doing that, especially with the mix of players that I have. Or is it pretty much the same? Do you see new stuff being cooked up all the time, or is it more of the same from him?
I mean, through training camp, we're going to get tested in a lot of ways. He wants to figure out what's the IQ of the defense.
Right.
Do we have the ability to have 4 plays in one, and can we get to this and check to this? Also, the versatility of the position groups. You see that with Van Ginkel and Cash and Metellus. What X can be in which spot and have success with it. So that's what a lot of training camp is. When it comes to the X's and O's and the actual play calls, we put stuff in on Saturdays before a game. The way that if Flo sees something, or doesn't like the way something happened at practice, or sure enough, we'll put in a play, and somebody will mess up at practice. But he likes the way that it looked at when they messed up, and we'll put that in. And so he has a saying: he doesn't care where good ideas come from.
Yeah. So we all assume, and we may have talked about this before, either with you or others, about it would appear from the outside it's got to be very freeing. Because you have, I'm sure you got responsibilities every play, but that also it feels like you do have a little bit more freedom than is often associated with defense. Is that how it feels when you play?
Yes and no. Flo wants you to play and align and play the way that you feel like you can have success. At the end of the day, you have to execute. Yeah. And so there still is a trust and a team defense aspect, but Flo's lenient in his ways that you can get your job done.
How do you help us? You've got a lot of familiar faces, but then you got some new faces, especially along the line of scrimmage. Give us a sense of what you see there and how you think those additions might change the way this defense looks.
Well, when you add two Pro Bowl defensive tackles, veterans into the room, it does let you have the ability to rush forward and feel very confident about that. We've seen from one-on-one settings to team setting to 2-minute settings, those players getting elite disruption right there in the quarterback's face. So I think that does add a layer of defense that maybe we had been missing before, and it's great to have them in the room to show the way they see the game and to be able to just have a lot of veterans who've had success bounce ideas off of one another. That's going to help us for sure down the road.
So I've talked to several players about this. What's the head coach's approach been with you guys, or maybe even B-Flow, about the way the season ended last year? Is it the kind of thing where you say, that was then, we're done, we don't want to think about it, we want to talk about it, or is it more, no, we do want to think about it, at least to the extent that we have to learn from it? What's the philosophical approach been collectively? What's it been for you?
Yeah, I think you do want to reflect on those seasons. Whether you had a ton of success or not a lot of success, you can still learn from it either way. But on the other hand, yes, those teams are not the same. The roster this year looks different than the roster last year. Schemes change, new additions. So we definitely want to. I think that we do a really great job in our building of getting what we emphasize. And I think that's offensively, defensively, special teams, and as a team. And so things that maybe hindered us or handicapped us last year that are the reasons that we fell short, if we emphasize those things, we should be able to overcome some of them. And I think we do a really good job of getting what we emphasize. And the emphasis may change as the season goes on, as the game goes on, in between drives. But we have a good group that responds well to that ask from the coaching staff.
A couple last things. Harrison Phillips, kind enough to join us after a pretty lengthy practice today at the TCO Performance Center. So from your perspective as a guy who's been around a little bit, give me your early off-season impressions in general of JJ, who obviously has been he's being given the keys to the car.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had a quote that NFL took viral this offseason.
Yes.
I'll stand behind what I was trying to say in that, is that I was with Josh Allen when he was kind of given the keys to the organization from a leadership standpoint. And JJ has those same characteristics where he understands I don't want to call it the burden, but the weight of the situation of being the starting quarterback, franchise quarterback for an organization. And only being 22 years old or 20, however old he is, that's a hard role to coach a year 9 player or a year 10 player or a Pro Bowl player who's top of their position,
sure,
but to command that huddle and still say, hey, even though I don't maybe have the notches in my belt in the NFL, I'm still holding us to the certain standard. I'm still the driving force of this. He's done a great job of that. He's got a great confidence. He's got a good aura, swag about him. And then, if you guys have been around for the offseason, and he's making some unbelievable throws, some great decisions. I still don't even understand the quarterback position on how they evaluate it completely,
right,
but I know that I'm hearing the offensive coaching staff and players always talking about his decisions that he makes, and that's good to hear.
Tell me also about, so I thought I read somewhere that you are involved in Omaha, opening up some kind of a program that has to do with I guess, helping athletes grow in a lot of different ways, physically, mentally, whatever. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, I opened a gym, ETS Performance, which there's some here in the Twin Cities as well. So I brought one to Omaha, and it's exciting because Omaha doesn't have a lot of things like that. Most of the time, any of these youth training centers emphasize playing football, loading a bunch of weight, making athletes get real strong and heavy weights. That's not great for injury prevention, longevity. So I thought the ETS program does a great job and fill the niche that Omaha didn't have. And then I'm excited to maybe try to layer that with what I do off the field with my nonprofit and find ways where I can maybe take some of these individuals with developmental differences, special needs, Down syndrome, autism, and find ways that they're able to get into the weight room, into the gym, and promote healthy lifestyles.
You getting good reaction to that around Omaha?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of in our trial phase for that moment. Obviously, we have 150 or so youth members that are members of the gym, and that's going well. But the transitions between Harrison's Playmakers and ETS is something they'll probably more tackle in the off seasons.
One last question. This is did you hear about the Jared Allen controversy?
Yes.
Controversy's too strong. About the sack that he claims.
It shouldn't be a controversy, but
okay, that's what I said to Justin Gard, my producer, earlier. I said, if I ask a defensive player this, I kind of know how he's going to answer it, but I still want to give you a chance to. Allen basically says I should have the single season sack record. They gave the Vikings a team sack in a situation where Aaron Rodgers fumbled the ball and then he landed on top of Rodgers. So was Jared Allen jobbed of the season sack rule as far as you're concerned as a defensive player? What do you think?
He is the single season sack record holder. Sorry, that's kind of a tongue twister. And you don't have to ask a defensive player. You can ask Aaron Rodgers himself. I think he was on record.
He confirmed it, yes,
saying it.
In an interview,
I've played against Aaron Rodgers. He's one of my all-time great favorite, even as a kid growing up. One of my big fan of his, and then to play against him, that was really cool. Welcome to the NFL type moment. But he's a competitor, and if I know him, playing him, the handful of times that I've played him or growing up watching him, he would have got back up and he would have launched that thing for a 65-yard touchdown. That's because it's Aaron Rodgers.
That's true.
So he definitely sacked him and should get credit.
All right, that's good. And you're on the record on that. Although not surprising from a defensive player, but as you say, Rodgers as a quarterback said the same thing. Lastly, that's basically enough, I guess. There was a period where it seemed like this team was flirting a little bit, or at least talking to A-Rod. Were you intrigued by any of that, or were you a little bit curious about where that might go before he ended up signing with Pittsburgh?
Yeah, for sure. I think anytime you can have a Pro Bowl player, a future Hall of Famer that you entertain, regardless of what the role could be, it'd be a value add, even if it was to come in here and mentor JJ. Right. Whatever role it was going to be, that'd be super cool. And any player of that kind of stardom, I think that most people would get him in their building if they had the chance to. But I'm excited to play him, week 5 or week 6 this year, I think is the plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to see us, man, Harrison. Appreciate it as always. And good luck this season.
Yeah, God
stay
bless
healthy,
everybody.
stay good. Appreciate it. Harrison Phillips, kind enough to join us from the exclusive Fan Radio Network Perch here in Eagan, Minnesota. We will get caught up now, take a quick pause, and prepare eventually for Ben Goessling and Lavelle Neal III as well. Stay tuned.
Join us for Fantasy Football Training Camp at Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Come hang out with Paul Charging and the Fantasy Football Weekly crew Friday, August 15th in the Full Deck Ballroom from 6 to 9 p.m. Get all the info you need to dominate your league this year. Plus, all in attendance will receive $10 in free slot play, $10 dining voucher. That's free to get in. Full details now, KFAN.com. Get your calendar.
Back in Eagan, Minnesota, Ben Goessling kind enough to join us as he does every Friday and will throughout this season as well, thanks to our good friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning yet again this season. Were you talking to Christian Darrisaw? Is that the rumor?
Yes, I was in the scrum of Ink Stain Wretches talking to the left tackle.
And what'd you get? Anything enlightening? Anything interesting? Pretty basic.
Just coming back from that injury, it certainly seems like he's ahead of schedule a little bit. I mean, they are optimistic about where he's at, getting a little more work in practices. Kind of just injury update stuff mostly.
So let's get a little more depth regarding practice today and what you saw. It still seems to be, I don't know. I mean, logically, I think in general, defenses would tend to be ahead of offenses. But I think what you look for ideally, right, in any series of practices is, all right, there's going to be stretches where the defense dominates, and there's going to be stretches where, there's several good plays in a row for the offense. And my barometer this week, frankly, has been the Paul Allen project.
Yeah,
I've rarely seen Paul Allen this negative. He seems very worried. He seems very concerned. Would you attempt to talk him off the ledge, or would you push him off the edge?
Well, I think the level of concern is something you have to factor into. Is it going to look like this against defenses not of this caliber?
Right.
Because this defense is, I feel like it's playing at a level, and we've seen this with this group in camps before. Kirk Cousins struggled a lot with this group against this defense. Sam Darnold did as well, and I think it's more reinforced. I mean, the pass rush up the middle has been a noticeable difference over the last couple of days. So is it going to look like that every week? That is going to be one of those things that I think gives you a little bit better sense of how big of a a barometer this defense is going to be for what the offense does. But yeah, I mean, it has been noticeable how much this defense has looked ahead. Again, when we've seen that in the past, you kind of have to factor it into some of the history that we have, especially when it's been veteran quarterbacks, I think in some cases before. But yeah, it has been quite a bit of this week. J.J. McCarthy's made a number of nice throws. He hit Lucky Jackson on a shot kind of in the cover 2 hole the other day and had a nice one to Jordan Addison in a red zone drill. So there's been moments, and it does not look to me like he's struggling to run the offense. It seems like running the huddle, understanding the plays, understanding what to do at the line, all of those kinds of things has been pretty good, especially for a 22-year-old quarterback, but it's trying to deal with everything that's coming at you after the ball is snapped, which is a lot when this defense is on the field.
Yeah, again, well, do you remember, you covered a few training camps now, where there seems to be as, I guess, clear a discrepancy between the offense and defense as it has started this year?
Well, I mean, this one sticks out. Yeah. I can remember a couple of years. I think there was an offensive line year in the Zimmer era where we were like, boy, the group had not practiced together at all, and there'd been just a lot of busts and protection, and it was kind of, hey, is this going to be how it goes? And then when the season came around, everybody was fine. But, yeah, I mean, this one certainly is prominent in my mind, and maybe that's recency bias a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
right. Yeah, there's some of that.
Yeah, it's also just when the group is in the backfield as much as it is, when that pass rush is getting home to the degree that it is, and you do have people playing in new spots. You have a rookie left guard, you have Christian Darrisaw, Justin School kind of trading reps at this point. You got a new center, you got a new right guard, all of those things, but it is some of it, as Kevin O'Connell said this morning, is not scheme. It's just the group that they have on defense is just winning matchups. And when you have this level of pass rushers, I mean, I suppose if you were to say this can project over the course of a season against other teams, that could put them in a pretty good spot where they can win a lot of games even if the offense isn't scoring 40 every week. But yeah, it has been pretty significant here the last few days how much that defense has looked in command.
So in terms of the line, do we assume that when we hit the opener Monday night in Chicago that the offensive line that we envision as being the starting offensive line for this team will be in place and ready to go for that game?
I think so. I mean, Christian Darrisaw, we're going to get a better indicator of it in the next couple of weeks, but the way they're going about it, it does seem like they are getting more work for him maybe a little bit earlier than we would have expected to see it, so that's a good sign. I think the fact that he's out here in pads is probably an indicator that we are heading towards that opener. I think there'll be a few more kind of checkpoints for them to get figured out, but if he's out there in a week or week and a half against the Patriots, I think that's another kind of checkpoint. I would expect they do typically kind of a scrimmage type thing. Once camp closes, they'll have kind of a practice that operates a little more like a game in terms of the pace of it. So you may get a little bit of that from him there just to kind of see what his football shape is and conditioning shape is going to be. But yes, if I was to bet on it right now, I'm betting he's on the field on September 8th in that game, and then everybody else I would think is going to be in position. Donovan Jackson's probably the left guard in that scenario. So I would expect Darrisaw, Jackson, Kelly, Fries, O'Neal is probably your starting five on that Monday night.
What did Darrisaw tell you just a few minutes ago about how he does feel physically, where he's at in that regard?
Yeah, he said he's feeling good. I mean, I think he is optimistic about where it's going, and he kind of still following the lead of the training staff and the medical staff in terms of how much they're going to let him do. But it seems like everything he's been doing to this point has gone well, and he says, I'm kind of just waiting for them to tell me what I'm doing the next day. I think a lot of it is just sort of going slowly through this because they don't want to overload him and have him have a setback or anything like that. But it does seem like everything has been on track to this point. So, yeah, I think he sounded optimistic, and I think everybody around him is fairly optimistic about it, too. Ben
Goessling joining us from the Perch, TCO Performance Center in Eagan. Lavelle will join us later as well to talk about the Twins' day after, among other issues as well. Defensively speaking, there's been already a lot of talk about, all right, is this the year that Dallas Turner makes a big jump. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks he's got a chance to do that. What have you seen in that regard, and how prominent do you think B-Flow wants to feature him this year defensively?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what we've seen, he's certainly bigger. I mean, we have a lot of people have talked about it, but he spent a lot of the offseason in the weight room. He's, I think, just bulked up quite a bit, which you see a lot of guys do after that first year where they have a full offseason to get in and actually follow a strength plan rather than doing combine and workouts and pre-draft stuff and all of the things that rookies have to do. So I think that was time well spent. He has been awfully disruptive. They have, I think, they've had a number of packages where it's him and Van Ginkel and Grenard on the field at the same time. I think they're going to do some different things there. They have shown, I think, a little more willingness to move him around, a little bit more, drop him into coverage at times because he's fast enough to do some of those things, and it's just kind of figuring out where you need to be. But if you have another guy that moves around to the degree that they may be able to do with him, it just adds another layer of who's coming from where. And I think, that's always the thing with Flores, is he wants to have any number of players that are almost interchangeable, where it's like, okay, this guy could be coming from here or could be coming from another place. And we've seen some of that from Byron Murphy. A lot of the point of this is to make you think that any one of 7 guys could be coming, and you don't know where to set your protection. And if he's able to do some of those things and able to win matchups the way we've seen him do it over the last few days here, that adds a pretty significant dynamic to this thing.
Grenard, do you buy the notion that Grenard's been the best defensive player in camp?
He has been on a different level on a number of these days here. He had one the other day where he basically ended the practice with a sack. I actually talked with him yesterday after practice. I'm writing a story about him for the weekend, and he basically, I think what did he say? You're either going to hear me or you're going to feel me, was the way he put it. And he is...
Well, he is a trash talker. We know that, right?
Yes, you'd certainly hear him. And I think the offense is starting to get a little bothered by it, but O'Connell said it today. It actually sounded like, it made me think of you, because he said, you are, in so many words, you're allowed to stop them from celebrating. I mean, there's a way to get them to stop doing this if you can go out and counter what they're doing. So he has been a big part of that, and I think a lot of the energy, and he talks a lot of trash, and he plays with a lot of intensity, practices with a lot of intensity in general, but the way last season ended, he said, well, it seemed like we got a little lackadaisical in some spots, and I think a lot of this for him is about sending a message to the rest of this group. We do have to take this to a different place, and possibly, especially with the young quarterback.
He came up with the shirt mantra, right?
He did. More is required, and you see a lot of those shirts on people's backs. The more is required logo or the mantra is on the back of the shirt. You see people walking around here with those.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds as if, we talk, sometimes the whole leadership concept can get overplayed a little bit, but that's, to me, what organic leadership becomes. Is he's saying, we can't, as unpleasant as it is, we can't forget the way it ended.
Yeah.
And it ended badly against the Rams.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you think through that whole, and as I was writing about it today, you kind of go back through that. I mean, that was basically 8 days from they have a chance to be the number 1 seed for the first time since, what was it, 1998, I think?
That sounds right.
And you're flying fans into Detroit and all of that stuff, and it's the biggest game ever, and they get beat pretty decisively, and then 8 days later, even in what amounted to a neutral site game, I mean, because that game got moved to Arizona, they're out. So it ended
and routed
so fast.
in the first half. The game's over at halftime.
Yeah, it was not close. So it ended so quickly when you come out of that Packers game thinking, hey, the sky's the limit. This could be the year they make a run, and who knows what could happen in the NFC. For it to go as fast as it did, I think it stung. I think it stung him. I remember talking with him a little bit after that, and even this spring, just that flight home, how much it's just the coldness of we thought this could go somewhere, and now it's just over. I mean, that always, it's my 14th year covering the NFL, and a playoff team, that the way it ends when it's just like, you can go from the Blair Walsh year, for example. You think they're going on to the next round, he misses the kick, the next day players are cleaning out their lockers. It ends so abruptly that I think when it's something like that you think is a team that has a chance to make a run, and then nope, it's over, I think that sticks with you for a while, and he doesn't seem like he wants to let people forget that.
Well,
feeling.
you reminded me of this the other day, I think at an appearance with PA, The Vikings were favored in that game.
Yeah.
Vikings were favored in, obviously, the home playoff game against the Giants. But I think a lot of people just they forget that it was not supposed to be, not only was it not supposed to be one-sided, the Vikings were favored. And I think I mentioned this on the air, that it's the day before we came to camp, the first day we had KOC on, NFL Network just happened to have that game on.
Right.
And so I ended up watching a decent amount of it. And I guess I had forgotten how thorough it was as early as it was. Yeah. And again, especially at the line of scrimmage, it was just not a ball game.
No, it was not. And that after that game was when O'Connell went to the podium and said, probably as directly as he's going to say it, we need to improve the middle of the offensive line. That's not something you hear him do. I mean, that would have been something you would have heard his predecessor do, probably a little bit more often. But that's not typically the KOC approach at the podium. So when he's doing that, and you kind of hear some things around the building anyway, it was not something he was going to take lightly. It was going to be something they said, we need to fix this with every resource we have available to us. So, this is not a group that tends to kind of just whitewash that stuff and say, we moved on, we've forgotten about it. It does seem like there's a level of, hey, this sucked, this hurt, so let's not just forget it and move on from it. Let's, understand the fact that we didn't do enough and we have to get to a different level. I think there's an embracing of that on some level.
Do we have any idea who's going to return kickoffs and punts for us yet?
I think it's still a bit of a competition there. I think you have guys that, it's going to become a question of, could Isaiah Rodgers be back there, or is he going to be on defense too much to do it? I mean, that's a conversation between Matt Daniels and Kevin O'Connell, probably, and probably Brian Flores as well, but could be him. I could see, Rondale Moore has done it. You got to see where he's going to be at health-wise, if he's going to be able to do it all the time. Ty Felton is another guy that has had a lot of that in his past, and a couple of other candidates for it as well. But they have some intriguing options. A lot of guys with more top-end speed than I think they've had in a while. But, I could see it being, one on kicks, one on punts from that group. And, that'll probably get determined over the next couple of preseason games here. You get a better sense of what it looks like in a game and how some of those reps look.
Does who was it? Was it Craig who wrote about our Aussie punter?
Yes.
So who is he, and what are his chances to actually be the guy?
Well, Oscar Chapman is the punter. It does sound like it's a competition. I mean, they have brought in competition for Ryan Wright before, and he has kept the job, but I don't think this is just like a automatic thing, and we're taking a flyer on the guy because it's the international pathway thing. I think he is going to get a look. My question is, how is he as a holder? Because that's always the thing you have the discussion about, is do you want to have a different holder for the kicker, and you change the operation and all of these kinds of things. That will be interesting to watch. They have split some of those reps here in training camp with holders when they've had field goal periods, but I would bet they'll have some of that in the preseason too. But this does seem like a legitimate competition. He's a guy that, the Australian punters always come in with all of these Aussie rules type kicks that you can put different spin on the ball because they've just learned a lot of these things. So I think people are always intrigued by it, but it'll be a matter of, is he probably better with placement than Ryan Wright has been. I think that'll be one of those questions.
Placement's the issue for him, right?
Yeah, it has been.
That's been the issue.
Yes.
And wasn't he mad at PA for a while about calling him plus size or something? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's some bitterness about that too, I think, that is ongoing. Did you cover Jared Allen here?
Yes, 2 years. His last 2 years are my first 2 years.
Okay.
Yep.
So obviously he's going to be inducted this weekend. Yeah. What for young Vikings fans who maybe are too young to remember all that much about him, what do they need to know? What is, when you think of Jared Allen, what comes into your mind?
Well, I mean, what you see with him tends to be what you get. I mean, the some of the content, I'm sure his speech will be a lot of this weekend. He's pretty shoot from the hip, always was, and he was a guy in the locker room that would be pretty colorful. I mean, he'd talk, I think, once a week. It was usually him and Adrian on Thursdays, I believe, in the locker room. Those were kind of the guys at the podium, so to speak. It's separate from guys you get at the locker. The more prominent players tend to talk once a week at a podium. Those two guys were the guys on Thursdays. He was always somebody that would have something to say. I mean, he would have a lot of opinions that he didn't necessarily keep to himself.
No.
And I think even when he retired, he came back maybe for a Ring of Honor thing or a 50th anniversary or something, or some anniversary team, whatever it was, probably 60th anniversary, 50th, it's a long time ago. But he's had a lot of these things when he's come back. He has a lot to say about the way the game has gone or different things with how football is played in this era. So one of those types that didn't really care about the ramifications that much of what he had to say, which makes him fun to cover, makes him a colorful guy to talk to. And you don't see a lot of that anymore. So there was, from my perspective, covering him, there was a lot of that. But the way, especially, the Favre versus Rodgers games, and I wasn't on the beat back then, but I certainly remember watching those.
Yep.
And there was so much discussion of Favre versus Rodgers, and it was the big storyline. But that first game at the Metrodome, especially, Jared Allen dominated that game. And I think the Packers maybe had their left tackle might have been hurt, but I can remember like Rodgers running for his life in the end zone a couple of times. I think there may have been a safety in that game too. But Jared Allen, I think, had like 5 sacks in that game when he got going. And there were times where when he'd get going, he had one objective,
yes,
and other things that may have been on his to-do list maybe were not as high on his priorities. But when he got going, he was awfully tough to stop. I mean, you just think through the list of pass rushers they've had. I mean, you go back to the old guys, but the recent run with him and Brian Robinson and Everson Griffin and Daniil Hunter and this group now, I mean, this is a franchise that's known for its pass rushers, and he is very much one of the guys at the forefront of that, certainly in the modern era.
Well, the underrated, Guardsy brought this up. We talk about Jared a little bit on Enough Said tonight on Fox 9. The other piece of the Allen story is he came here, because I remember when the Vikings got him, I certainly endorsed the move, but there was some pushback that, what about this guy's record here, man? The alcohol, you're asking for trouble. This is a team trying to head in a new direction in that regard. And as far as I know, you covered it towards certainly some of it at least, that he seemed to figure a lot of that stuff out, and that's a part of the story that should not be forgotten.
Right, and I remember when Leslie Frazier got fired, this would have been after the 2013 season, Jared was one of the guys in the locker room that was very open about it and very honest as he was about a lot of things, saying Leslie Frazier was one of the people that helped me realize I needed to clean my life up.
Good point.
And I think there were a lot of people that he kind of went to and people he leaned on, whether it's the Vikings or other people in his life. But that, no doubt, was a big part of what he needed to do here, because you're probably looking at, a guy that had done some of the things that he'd done in terms of with his relationship with alcohol. If that continues, he's not playing another 7 or 8 years after that trade. He's not putting up the numbers he did.
He might have been suspended for a year,
right.
Wasn't he at that point already?
Yeah.
Where the next transgression might mean he's out for the season at least.
So the sack numbers aren't coming at that point. The 22 sack season is not going to be part of the resume. He's probably not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's true.
So, there are a lot of players, and this happens across the NFL, but guys that it can go one way or another, and you need somebody to kind of take you aside and say, hey, man, we got to think about what this could look like long term if you don't get this figured out. And I think he had people, Leslie Frazier very highly on the list among them, that did that for him here. And I would imagine you'll hear some of that in his speech this weekend. But his time in Minnesota and the shift he made, kind of the redirect he had in Minnesota, is a very big part of the reason he's in the Hall of Fame.
Was he robbed of that sack that he's been a big topic of conversation? The Vikings have a good video out in which Rodgers backs him up and says, no, that should have been not a team sack, but an individual sack, which would have given him, I think,
would have given him the record.
I told Guardsy, I forgot, I don't even remember any controversy at the time about that play.
No, he said, because that was a Monday night game, I believe. I think that was the year before I was on the beat, but just going back to it, I think that was like the year the Packers were 15-1. I think they blew him out, but he gets the sack, and watching that play again this week, I think he's got a case. Nobody else is really part of taking him down. And Rodgers in that video, if people haven't seen it, go watch it. It's pretty funny. Even the 1 minute clip with Rodgers at the end is pretty funny.
Yes, it is.
Very well done. But he convinced me. Because he had said that they'd given it to him initially, and then when they go back and do the stats thing, because they do that sometimes. They'll go back and review things and change it. But I'm not quite sure what made that a team sack. It looked like a pretty individual effort as I watched it back.
Well, you're right. His speech, who knows? He could go.
I bet you that comes up. Sure. I bet you he's going to petition the NFL. Yeah. Like, the statute of limitations up on this, or can we still go back and change it? I just wondered, almost be surprised if it doesn't come up.
What inspired him to get back into talking about that? Was that self? Was that him bringing it up? Did somebody bring it? By the way, you got jobbed by that, because it seems like it's taken a cause on all its own many years later. Obviously, he's got a forum right now because he's going into the hall. But I hadn't realized it was stuck in his craw to that degree.
Well, he always had a list in his locker of where. I mean, he knew exactly where he ranked on the sack list.
Yes.
Whether it was single season or career, he knew very well how many sacks he needed to hit certain milestones. So it wouldn't surprise me if that had been something he'd been thinking about for a while. I also wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings said, "Hey, this would be interesting to talk about again." Whether Hagen or somebody, one of the people that was with him, Hagen tends to have a pretty good mind for a lot of these things.
They took that sack away from you, you'd have the record.
Yep. I would not be surprised at all if there was some prompting there, but Jared generally does not
take much.
Need much. You're right.
For sure. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a great weekend. Ben Goessling helping us out on a Friday from Eagan, TCO Performance Center. We're going to get a pause in. We still have Lavelle to get to.
Don't think he made it to camp today.
No, I guess he did. Yeah. He's too busy. He's got a lot of stuff going. He's being spin doctored by Twins people.
He was supposed to come today, and then a story got thrown in his lap. I can only imagine what that is.
It's been a busy 24 hours.
Within the next 72 hours, Lavelle, I guarantee it, maybe even with us, will be convinced that this is the best series of moves by one team in the history of trade deadlines. I'm telling you. He completely turned from even what he was telling us yesterday. We'll find out. Thanks again, Ben.
All right, thanks.
Ben Goessling covers, of course, the Vikings for Star Tribune and joins us each and every week. Back in a minute.
If you want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows, you can make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. As 64686, standard text message and data rates apply.
Right now between Dougie Baseball.
Oh, I wondered if you were going to see that.
And Jeff Passan.
Yeah.
I feel after reading these back and forth tweets better about the fact that I apparently often annoyed Dougie Baseball with stuff I wrote. I actually now feel vindicated on this basis. So Passan writes a tweet. This is from yesterday, I think. Among the return to he's a longtime baseball writer.
Yeah, he's
correct?
a ball guy. Yeah, ESPN.
Guy. Among the return to the Pirates in Bednar deal, per ESPN sources, catcher Rafael Flores, who tore up AA, now at AAA, top shelf framer, and regarded as a big league ready catcher, a very good centerpiece. Also in it, Edgelin Perez, who is 19 with excellent swing decisions. About 16 hours after that tweet, so today, Dougie Baseball stumbles upon it.
Yeah.
And loses it. He writes, "Man, what a time to be alive when a non-baseball person writes excellent swing decisions for a guy hitting 209 in A-ball and is a career 241 hitter. I swear some scouts and writers will say anything to sound somewhat intelligent to non-baseball people." Jeff noticed. So 2 hours after the Dougie Baseball savagery, he writes, "That description comes from a scout, Doug. Do you hate them too, or are you just bitter because your batting average is no longer," well, I can't read the...
basically what they...
no longer the metric people care about, and it's the only one you were ever good at. Stay bitter, guy.
Yeah.
Mankiewicz, back at it. Glad you finally admitted that, guy. Here is a line you should never forget. I can do what you do. You can't do what the players do. Bitter? Not at all. Without players, you have no job. Without scouts, you have zero knowledge. Don't forget it, guy. Passan. It's a good thing I'm trying not to play, Doug. The sad part is you're trying to think, and you're absolutely terrible at it. There's nothing more sad than an old ball player who wants things to be like they once were and is too incurious to care the game passed them by. You had a good career. You were a good ball player. You did things I never could. That doesn't give you license to say stupid things. I don't know a lot, so I ask people who do. You think you know a lot, and those who actually do laugh at you. Oh, my God. Is that, I mean, that's frontline blue chip level savagery back from Jeff Passan with Dougie Baseball.
Yeah.
Whew.
Remarkable. Now, I wouldn't have even responded to the original Dougie Baseball thing.
No, that's the other. You can take the high road.
But he was pretty surgical.
I would call it surgical and, I mean, really effective viciousness.
Look at this.
Looks like Lavelle made it. Does he know practice is over? Lavelle Neal III
Night practice is on Monday.
Sauntering up.
I watched him the whole way walking across the fields. I think you're supposed to take the little walkway.
Did you walk on the grass?
Lava went right through the grass.
Here. Hey, you can't do that. That's why the grass gets ruined. Let's turn him in.
Grab the headset. They're watching him. I'm sure they saw him.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They got cameras everywhere.
I'm sure they saw him.
We'll do a shorty here.
Yeah, we're breaking in 5 minutes.
We'll break in 5 minutes anyway. Lavelle.
And Lavelle could get in on this. He's the ball guy.
Are you aware of the savagery rendered by Jeff Passan on your guy, Dougie Baseball?
On Dougie Baseball?
Oh, just eviscerated him.
Oh, for what?
Took him apart for acting like a jackass, which, as you know, Dougie Baseball can do. It's rare for me to defend the ball guy. Here I'm defending the ball guy.
What did Dougie do this time?
Well, where did it go? We just laid it out.
Basically told Passan he's lucky to have a job, doesn't know anything about baseball. A scout told you that this guy has great swing decisions, right?
Correct.
And you don't know anything about the game.
And as Passan said,
he's written a book about pitching.
And as he says, hey, look, I don't pretend that I know these things. I am talking to scouts and baseball people. And it just degenerated from there. And let's just say if it was a fight, no Twitter battle. If it was a fight, the refs would have stopped it like about 8 seconds into round 2. Well, technical knockout in favor of Passan.
Jeff was on the conference call last night with Derek Falvey, so I've been waiting for him to write his opinion of what the Twins did. So I was checking ESPN during the day to see if it popped up. It had not yet. So when you mentioned Passan, I was like, oh, he must have ripped the Twins. But no.
So it had nothing to do with the Twins.
So Doug engaged him on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, basically Passan says regarding one of these prospects traded, he makes excellent swing decisions, and Mankiewicz was offended. Basically, we're happy for you. A non-baseball person writes about excellent swing decisions for a guy batting for his career 241. And Passan says, that's from a scout, Doug. Do you hate them too, or are you just bitter because batting average is no longer the metric people care about, and it's the only one you were ever good at? Stay bitter, guy. And it degenerated from there.
Well, plus, plate discipline may be a cliche at this point.
True.
And maybe Jeff was trying to find a different way to describe
Exactly.
it.
That may have been part of it, yeah. The finish for Passan, again, you had a good career. You were a good ball player. You did things I never could. That doesn't give you license to say stupid things.
Yeah, Passan and I go back because I was leaving the Kansas City Star when he arrived for his short stint there.
Okay.
They had a great setup of young writers because Wright Thompson was there at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And a couple other people, yeah. And I was, Om Yamazuk, who still covers the NBA now for ESPN, was there. So the Young Bucks were coming in just when I was moving on up here in Minnesota. So I've known Jeff for a long time. He enjoys a nice bourbon like I do.
Well, and he's not. It's not like you can't disagree with him, but it's a weird. Dougie,
and his book, The Arm, is very good. I hear it's very good and very detailed.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, so I better say that.
Yeah, Dougie Baseball. He's one of those guys I kind of shake my head at. I mean, I liked him to the extent when he was here that he give you great quotes. But some of the stuff he's gotten, I think, the further away from the game he's become. I shouldn't say from playing, he's become more warped.
It's part of it's the price you pay for talking to Dougie, because he's going to right. He's going to be articulate. And other times he's going to get the red ass.
You're going to go what? Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. All right, let's do this. We got to make a top of the hour pause, and we got plenty of time to. I've already predicted that when you talk to us in depth, that after being spun by several Twins spin doctors, you're going to tell us, I fully am on board with these moves. I understand their thinking completely now. So think about that, and you'll let me know on the other side of a break whether I'm right, whether I'm going to be vindicated, or you're going to go, what world are the Minnesota Twins living in?
There goes my speech.
Sorry. back from TCO. We're the only ones left. That and a guy in the cart doing something on the lawn. I don't know exactly
fixing
what he's
Lavelle's divots from.
That's probably it. From walking
Look, I'm a little hefty, man. I don't leave divots when I walk.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. That wasn't intended. All right, more Lavelle after a short pause here in the Fan.
Get ready to laugh out loud. Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias is bringing his comedy tour to the Treasure Island Resort and Casino September 6th and 7th. Don't miss out on your chance to see one of the world's funniest comedians. Get your tickets now, TICasino.com.
Final half hour of a very, very busy Friday Football Beast edition of the Bumper to Bumper program. Lavelle is indeed on location back with us for a little more extended segment now. Do you believe or do you feel like you have any better concept of, at least in theory, what the Twins are thinking, or Falvey is or was thinking when he made history yesterday, trading away, but certainly if you include the 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, more players than any time in the history of the Minnesota Twins, maybe Major League Baseball?
You know, they think it was an opportunity they couldn't resist to get some assets for the future. I have a hard time buying that, especially when you had guys under control, like the Louis Varland and Griffin Jacks trades really bugged me at the end. After Duran was traded, I was like, trade either Jacks or Duran. Varland could be the closer in waiting, but they traded all three. They also traded Brock Stewart, which I really didn't mind. Colum, spare part, didn't mind.
Totally.
But, you know, Louis Varland's like under control of 2031 before he can go into free agency or something like that. That really surprised me of that. Why now? Because I still have trouble grasping why now did they do this. It's really, and I went home last night. After I talked to you, I went home. I was thinking, first of all, I feel bad for the fans because I feel like it was 1998 all over again.
Right.
Because I covered one of these teardowns before. The 98 team was like 70 and 92, and they had Greg Swindell, Rick Aguilera, Mike Morgan, Molitor, and they let all the old guys walk. They traded a couple, and the payroll went down to it was 2 years, back-to-back years, where it was the last of Major League Baseball. Last. But out of that came the core of the team that won 6 division titles in the 2000s. But still, there was still some pain. This is more drastic because of the cost that's involved, and the fact that the team's for sale, and the new owner could have came in and said, "Well, you know what? They need a number 3 hitter." Boom! Sign this version, this era's Nelson Cruz. Now you could build the office around somebody, and now you're bouncing back here. You know, so see, they're selling it like I was texting with Twins officials last night. They're like, well, look at this guy. Look at his stats. Look how promising he is. Look at this. Look at this. I will agree with them on one point. They didn't touch with the starting pitching.
Yes,
by adding a couple starters, they've got like 8 guys in the queue now. The Abel guy, and I actually like the Cuban left-hander they got from Toronto. First of all, because they don't have a lefty in the organization that's highly thought of. So I'm fine with that. Their argument is we got the starters in place. We need the position players to emerge, hoping that Maurice Lewis and maybe Warner or someone else steps up and kind of becomes the fulcrum of that offense. And their belief is putting together a bullpen is the easiest thing to do of the 3. So that's going to determine how fast they go at this. Once again, I'm not all for it because I think the way bullpens are put together now, you need like 4 or 5 guys. And if you try to buy these guys in the free agent market, it's going to be pricey. And then you're back to where you started before. I was fine with getting out from under Carlos Correa's contract.
I was too.
I didn't have problems with that at all. But I just hate to signal a sense to the fans. I just think the fans get kicked in the teeth. And they really don't deserve it. I kind of just feel bad. I felt bad for him driving home last night.
I think you laid out why I'm having a hard time buying the conspiracy theory part involving was decreed by the new owner, because you nailed it. It's like, well, it may well be. He's going, wait a minute. They're not close, but we're not that far away if we add a couple of key parts and we keep these pitchers together and we keep this bullpen together. And I don't know. I mean, I think there's a chance even that a new owner would say, I'm going to bet on the possibility that Correa can bounce back next year. Now, that's a risk.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's worth taking. Like I don't have that much of a problem. It's weird. I think what makes it harder even now to accept the Correa part is with all the other moves as well.
Right.
If that was done with a couple of deals where you are still trying to say, we're not going to kid ourselves, we got to add some assets here, then I think it makes sense. But when you literally make history, I don't even think, and as you say, the Falvey philosophy I thought was, well, as long as we've got still guys who aren't old, who are under control for a number of years, who are good players, you don't trade them until maybe you're down to the last year or you're down to when they're going to be a free agent. Right. That's contrary to their own philosophy.
Luis making like $680,000 or $700,000 this year.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's just, it's so extensive that just bugs me. And this is more talent than they dealt with. This is in comparing to '98 again. It's much more talent at stake than they had in '98. So I was swapping.
Have we heard how Buxton's doing, responding? Even how Pablo Lopez is taking it? Do we have any clue?
Falvey said that he called Buck yesterday during all of it and had a conversation with him about what they were doing and why they were doing it. And he claimed that Buck was on board. I got to imagine the Twins player text string was in flames yesterday.
Right.
With them going, he's gone? Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
He's gone? Oh, hell no. Well, hell, if he's gone, I might as well be gone. Yeah, I'm out, guys. Take it easy. It had to be something else. Rocco apparently was walking through the hallways of the hotel looking for Griffin Jacks, to tell him they had been traded.
Yeah.
It had to be a crazy day, man. It was a crazy day for all of us involved on the outside from a media standpoint and people involved with the organization. So, the thing that stinks about this, that the Paulette family gets out from under. I think they cut like $26 million off the payroll this year, and they're out from $71 million of Carlos Correa's contract. That doesn't hurt the value of the team. It's still going to get sold. And I had to write an even-handed story for tomorrow's paper about this. I pointed out that owner can come in, see that they're close, make a big move to add a piece, and then have some momentum going into 2026.
Right.
On the other hand, owner can come in. They've got money to spend because the payroll is down, and they can be part of the rebound. I think whoever ends up buying the team, it's going to be welcome with open arms.
No question about that. There'll be a solid honeymoon period if they don't blow it.
Yes.
You're exactly right. Anybody, as long as Polad's not in your name, we're going to say, hey, let's take it. These guys look pretty good. You're exactly right.
I agree. So,
and you're still convinced it's going to happen.
Front Office Sports reported today that after the sell-off, there's still momentum toward a sale. So, once again, we don't have any names.
Yeah.
I know there was a meeting here in town last week with some people in suits walking around. So there's something going on still. I'm betting that a new owner will be presented by the end of the regular season.
By the end of this regular season?
Yes.
I hope you're right. I
that's
think
2
that
months
might be
now. I got 8 weeks. I got 8 weeks to be right on that one.
I think right now the problem is that the organization has so little credibility. It's like there's a part of me that goes, well, are they making this stuff up about anybody being out there? Although they have to know now more than ever they can't possibly remain as owners.
Here's the other thing too. I wrote in the story for tomorrow. You guys can check it out on StarTribune.com. That Falvey spent yesterday spinning it to us,
right.
And then today he spent spinning it to the season ticket holders.
We read the letter, yeah.
Yeah, but my argument was he may have been also writing a letter toward the future owner,
yeah,
too,
right, sure.
about, this was calculated, we meant to do this, trying to prove that, please don't fire me,
Yeah.
But I think, him and Rocco are joined at the hip. I can't see one going without the other. They have an incredible working relationship. They have a great fondness for each other. I can't see Falvey moving off from Rocco.
Let me ask you a Rocco question.
So I think it'd be a 2-for-1 if it happened.
This is sort of unrelated to all of these moves, because I don't think you and I on the air have talked much about Rocco. We get, on average, I'd say 5 to 10 texts a day, especially after a Twins loss, basically saying, I can't believe Rocco's still the manager. Here's another mistake. Here's another blunder. And, in fact, yesterday we got it basically saying, well, if they're going to contract everybody, contract Rocco too. He should be first in the list. So give me your best baseball guy analysis of Rocco Baldelli as a manager. What's fair on Rocco, would you say?
Well, I think he articulates the game fairly well. I think he communicates well with players. He's careful not to criticize them too much in the media, although we wished he would do that more often. He's very measured about when he puts the hammer down. He doesn't walk in after every loss screaming at someone and chewing someone out like, Tom Kelly used to. He picks his spots like the first 2 weeks of the season when the pitchers forgot about how to throw the first base. He got on their asses and they went out and had extra drills and tried to clean it up there. Handling a pitching staff has been something he's slowly developed in. But I think bullpen usage is it's real low-hanging fruit for the baseball fan in terms of using pitchers and not knowing, how their arm is feeling. Maybe they couldn't get loose, or maybe they've already appeared 3 times that week, or trying to understand the nuances there. When you bring in Jacks, why are you bringing in Jacks when you're down 3 runs and things like that? So, actually, that debacle against Boston, they had to bring Jacks in. They were down by a ton.
Yeah.
They couldn't bring in the position player to pitch. Jacks knew that he was like the last pitcher because everybody else was wiped out. He gives up 3 straight hits. Rocco comes out to pull him. He's pissed because now he's worried about his runs his ERA going up because here comes Cody Clemens. And he wanted to stay in the game. So he was fuming about that. He ended up having to apologize to Rocco. But, Rocco the players aren't afraid to speak their minds to Rocco, and Rocco, welcomes that. And I think those are good qualities. My criticism is that I still feel that in a situation like the Twins are in and other mid to small market teams, being able to do more with less is required.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think that has happened here,
that's
particularly in this year.
That's fair. All right, let's do this. We'll get one more break in. You can tell folks on the other side of the break what you wrote about for Sunday, and then we'll kind of wrap up the show, give you a mini review of what we saw at Vikings training camp today. And if you're a purist and a fan of great offensive excellence, you might end up being traumatized. Stay tuned.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
It's brought to you by American Pressure.
Nicely done. Nicely played back at headquarters by Brett Blakemore. Lavelle, what are you writing about for Sunday?
I'm actually trying to move on after this destructive week.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to kind of just do an analysis of who they actually got. Are any of these guys good?
Okay.
And just try to kind of move forward from that a little bit. I'm also trying, because I'm doing a 3-2 pitch, I'm thinking there's a Hulk Hogan story out there that I would like to kind of address.
Oh, okay.
A local angle that has to do with a night at the Loon Cafe in downtown Minneapolis.
Is that right? Were you there for it?
I was not, because it was.
But you've heard about it.
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's a good tease. That's a very good tease.
Yep. So
outstanding. Should remind folks that we want to thank Harrison Phillips, who stopped by to see us after a very contentious, if you're a member of the offense, Vikings practice yet again today. Let's just say the defense is still well ahead of the offense, the first-team offense at this point.
Can I, everybody's waiting for the first preseason game, obviously, against Houston, but also the joint practices against New England. They're coming here.
Yep.
Remember Chad Graff used to work here, cover the Purple?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cover the Wild, too. He covers the Patriots now.
I remember that.
Big picture thought from Patriots scrimmage. Another day the defense was better. Too many turnovers, too many execution errors from the offense. That said, the defense looks good.
Well,
it could be a bloodbath out here.
Is that just a thing at this time of year?
Maybe it is. Maybe that's the trend.
It's like pitching in spring training, being ahead of the hitters until they get their time in.
There's some truth to it.
The Bears' defense has been kicking the crap out of Caleb Williams too.
Yeah, that's. There's probably some truth to it. I think it's stuck out here simply because you're handing the keys to a very young player at the quarterback position, and you're not getting. It seems like literally every other play is either a pick or it would have been a sack. if they were allowed to sack the quarterback. And I think it's the frequency and the number of plays that still have to get KOC's attention here early. But generally, you're right. I think it's more likely that defenses are going to be ahead of all. Or is it just mean that the Vikings offense isn't very good and the Patriots offense is worse?
Very possible.
Also possible as well. Ben Goessling joined today as well, did he not? A couple times.
Yeah.
And we want to thank him for his contributions today. And who am I forgetting? That's it, because we were guest-free early.
We were. Went 2 hours.
Yeah, we did. I think I'm going to go home and watch the Papa Shot contest. Well, ESPN2 tonight. Brad Johnson.
I feel like it's 2001. I think the Get to Know Me campaign is on again for the Twins. I gotta watch this Cleveland game. What's this guy's name? The Rodan, the second hitter, number 2 hitter.
Yeah, they just called him up.
Well, you're supposed to tell us.
I know I can't. I'm still trying to remember these names, man.
We just called him up. He's batting second.
Batting second in the lineup.
Why is the pitcher, the starter we got, who is kind of highly regarded, that we got for the closer, why is he at AAA? Why don't we bring him up right away?
I haven't got an answer on that. I'm wondering, too. That's Taj Bradley.
No, I'm not talking about him. That's a different deal.
For Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah, no, that's a different deal. A good question.
The
Philadelphia guy. Yeah. Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we have him at AAA?
I bet you they want to give him a couple starts down there and then call him up. Same thing with Taj Bradley. Bradley actually is made like 40 starts in the majors.
Yeah,
he's still just 24.
Yeah.
2 years ago, he was their number one prospect, which says something for the Rays organization.
Yeah.
To be number one on that list. So, I don't remember him, but apparently his arm is filthy. Just got filthy stuff. So I'm curious to see how this. I'm curious to see how this plays out.
We all are.
I'm curious to watch him throw and see what he's got, man.
And Joe Ryan's starting tonight, right?
He is.
He's got to.
Somebody had to.
Ryan Jeffers, DH, man, I tell you, the Twins must have the worst DH production in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, that's not very good. That's not very good
and they're an injury away from that blowing up because Vasquez is behind the plate. Oh, but I forgot, Vasquez is Ryan's personal catcher.
Oh.
It's like
the old days.
It's like McCarver and Carlton.
That's it. By the way, Vikings open preseason schedule a week from tomorrow. When do the Bears open Saturday too? I assume they do.
I believe so. It may be Friday.
Who do the Bears play? Anybody good? Does it matter?
I know.
Is Caleb going to play? Because we think McCarthy's going to play in the Vikings' first preseason game.
Caleb's got to play.
Yeah.
He has to play,
man.
I think
you're probably right about that.
New playbook, new head coach. He's got to show how much progress he's made with the system. I'm doing a great job of filibustering here until I can get
find the opponent.
Will
you be at Allery's Bar and Barbecue for it?
And Bears.
Well, we're running out of time here, Lava.
Bears are Sunday.
Oh, big one.
At home against Buffalo.
Massive game. Thanks for coming to see us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Read Lavelle early and often.
Tomorrow's special column tomorrow.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the weekend. I will be with Brett Blakemore on Sunday for sermons. We'll talk then. Enjoy the weekend.
Whenever you